Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. This is a sombering day for us because we remember our friend, our colleague who was with us on this earth, but unfortunately on January 1st year, our friend Frank Kasonde transitioned to the other side of the world. So we are remembering the times that we shared with Frank, remembering the times we worked together as a team on this important project that we have to preserve and to tell the story of our founding president, Dr. David Kenneth Kaunda. So today is a day of reflection. Today is a day of remembrance of a friend who is on the other side of the world. In other words, we are celebrating Frank's life because Frank lived a very commendable, big ideas. He had big dreams. And today we'll focus on his dream. So let's pay this little clip as we reflect back on Frank.
Frank, we're here to remember you. We're here to just carry on your dream. I remember the very time that I met you. You said you've now met someone to make your dream come true. And making your dream come true is just remembering our first time when I took you to KK. You promised, you had a big dream. You said all the great things that you really wanted to say about yourself and about you knowing what it is that you wanted to do. The best part about you, what I remember about you, is you telling a story about a story which you did not witness. That's one thing that made me really believe that you'd be able to do anything that you wanted to do. And so I promised that I was going to be part of the struggle, and here still saying I'm part of the struggle, because this dream of yours will live for everyone who was not there, who you meant to see, the children that did not get to know what independence was, what the struggle was, who brought independence. So for that, we honor you. We're going to be the ones to carry your dream. Even if it's just for 10 minutes, the one that you were asking before you passed on. You said, please, Mom, get me 10 minutes with the president. And we were almost there. And then your demise arrived. But we're here to share the good news that the struggle's dream of Frank Kasonde still live on. Support us to make the dream come true. Thank you very much.
Now, you might be wondering, what is the future of the struggle project now that Frank is normal? Well, the struggle continues. We won't rest until Frank's dream is realized. And we have an amazing team that Frank and I have been working with for a very long time actually. And we have continued in trying to find ways that our story should be told. So the struggle continues, and we are working as Legacy Real Studios in order to tell our story the way Frank wanted it to be told. Yeah, so we are working to create relationships with the government, and we are also talking to adopters out of the country and other decision makers in a different in various industries that might be interested in our story. As you know, our story has not been told in modern settings like movies and documentaries and all that. And what we stand for as of now is to make sure that our story is indeed told, that the KK story gets to where it's supposed to get. And would appreciate actually if other people also bought into the idea and came on board and just supported the cause, because Kaunda was not only for Zambia itself. Kaunda was also for the greater Southern African region. Kaunda believed that no African was free when the brothers were still in bondage, and he fought for the freedoms of most of the countries that are free today. So if there are people out there, you can always reach us out so that we can see how we together with you can realize our dream of making sure that the Kaunda movie gets to the world's biggest screens.
My name's Sinkala Simon. I just want to tell you a bit on how I met Frank Kasonde, the founder of the Struggle movie. I met Frank through Facebook. The time was in South Africa. I was going through stuff on Facebook, then I came across Frank because I'm a movie lover. Then I got interested in the project that he had. I sent a friend request, he accepted, we interacted, and we clicked. We became friends. He told me a bit about his movie, and we kept on chatting for some time, and we became close, minus seeing each other, because I was in South Africa, I was in Zambia. And to my surprise, one day I was in Zambia, I received a text saying he's around, we need to link up, sit down and chat a bit, get to know more about the project that he had. That's how we met, and the privilege to meet even his other colleagues like Matthews, who are part of his team. We interacted very well, we started working together, doing errands together. Frank had, he was a dream chaser. You could see the passion he had for the movie, the passion he had for his project. He would go an extra mile to make sure that he achieved whatever he wanted to achieve. I never thought this day would come when I'll start telling people now I met Frank, because it's normal. But one thing I can assure you, Frank was a hero. Frank was a fighter, was a dreamer, and he would do anything to achieve whatever he started. This is why the people that are left behind, they should try by all means. We should try by all means to achieve what he started. May his soul continue rest in peace. We'll forever miss him. Gone but not forgotten. He's a legend. For me, he's a legend. Frank Kasonde is a legend. Thank you.
I met Frank around 2016, 2017. By then I was working for a radio station. So Frank had come through to the radio station to talk about an amazing project that he had and how he just wanted it to come to reality. And one thing I noticed about him was the passion he had to tell the story at all costs. The passion to, just make sure that the story about our heritage should reach the big cinemas. And I knew instantly that whatever he had going on is a cause that I wanted to be part of. And since that time, me and Frank were inseparable. I think mostly this was because we shared the same dream of telling our story at all costs. So Frank and I would go on to open a business together, and this was around 2018. And this time around, we were determined to make sure that whatever happened, we just had to produce results in that particular year. And it was also at a time that he went to South Africa. So when he was like over there, I would remain here, and I was literally the Frank back home while he was out there. And I really did enjoy working with him. And when he came back, well, our friendship, just resumed as if he hadn't had traveled at all, and would meet up randomly, not only for the project itself, but would meet up randomly to talk about nothing and everything and all that. So Frank, to me, was a business partner, he was a friend, and he was a brother. And I think any other person out there would be so lucky to have him as any of these things. And I consider myself the luckiest to have had all these three amazing things in one person. So for me, Frank holds a very special place in my heart, and nothing would ever take away the memory of Frank, and it shall forever be part of who I am and forever be part of how I live.
Yeah. If you're just joining us, we are remembering our colleague, our friend, Frank Kasonde, Frank Cherry Kasonde. And Auntie Sylvia, I know you've worked with Frank. You are responsible for actually connecting him to the KK family. Can you talk a little bit about how, when you met the young man, just the experience, what memories, knowing that it's been a year now since he's been gone?
Yeah, and it's just like nothing ever happened. It's like he's still here, and we're still going to do something. And it's been very difficult because when people are running around, it looks like, oh, after we've run around, then we are going to stop something and something is going to come through and be what we really want it to be. This 1 year has been such a roller coaster. So many things just didn't go right. But we thank God that we are here and we're able to visualize and we're able to take in, the things that that we want to, to do. So Frank meant, for Frank for me was like really that person who is persistent, who knew what it was for him to actually achieve what he wanted to achieve. He became like my baby because he just come and sit, in front of me, whether I was busy or what. He would just sit in front of me and say, "Don't worry about me. I'm okay where I am. Just continue working. I just want to know how you work and how you, you do things, how you answer your phone, and just how you interact." So we became really close, and he would share with me that he was going to go to South Africa, and sometimes he would go for a long time, and when he would come back, he would say, "Mommy, I'm here, I'm here." And he always wanted to be around when it was KK's birthday. Then he knew that would go and visit him. What intrigued me most was that this young person who had been wanting to meet KK for a long, long time couldn't, was not able to do that. And, this is also why I say, to all my interactions, I always tell people that you should be able to network for success wherever you are. It doesn't matter whether you're at church, whether you're at just a networking place, whether you're at a funeral, wherever you are, we have to learn to network for success. So how I met Frank was through networking for success, and it was through my daughter. My daughter was going to school with Pauline. Pauline used to do media and PR for Frank, and they had been talking about how this young person wanted to meet KK. Then my daughter says, "You really want to meet KK? I know of someone who can take you there." "That you're lying." I said, "No, I'm not lying, because my mom dresses KK. And if you really want to see KK, that wouldn't be a big challenge." And I was told he had been wanting to see KK for over 10 years. And so I made the arrangements. In fact, it wasn't like just making the arrangements. I first called him. I called him to the office, and we were discussing. After my daughter had brought him to me, then we were discussing. I told him, "I don't want you to waste my time. I don't also want you to waste your time. I also don't want you to, to waste KK's time, because, it's KK. No one just goes there to tell them that they want to do this, and he takes on." So I had really to be convinced by what he was, talking about. And while he was talking about all these things, I saw the passion. I saw the passion that he had. He showed me the trailer. We even did, I said, "Okay, we are going to do a contract that when this movie starts to, to materialize, that's when you would be able to pay for my services. For now, I'm going to offer all the services for you for free." And we did write a document to say, "Okay, this is what it is." And, and then I said, "How do you want to connect? What is it really that you want to do?" Then he was like, "Mom, I've got everything I need. All I need is just for KK to sanction it and to give me blessings. Then I'll go and look for the money." "How much money are you talking about?" "Oh, Mom, to make a movie, you have to Google how to make a movie, and you'll be able to see the cost. But the cost is not hindering my progress." And I actually did Google what it costs to, to make a movie. And I saw $40 million, $20 million for small movies, and so many people are involved, and so it's all a whole lot of things that were, involved. So I said, this looks like, you must make sure that what you want to do is doable. So I suggested to him to write to the Ministry of Tourism to see if it could be part of the tourism package once the movie starts to show, so that when you go to talk to KK, you share with him that your movie will be part of tourism, to promote or people to know about the history of Zambia. And when people come to Zambia, they would want to be going to see those places where the movie was being shot. So I said, oh, that's a good idea. And we did write indeed to the Ministry of Tourism. And lucky enough, that time, my husband, Dr. Wansa, was the PS for tourism. So it was easy to actually, because he also knew the story, and he also know how passionate I am about promoting Kaunda while he lived, so that he could be able to say, this is good. So in doing all these things, we managed to get the, a referral letter from the ministry, and that is the letter that we took when we went to see KK himself. And when we were there, Frank, first I had to go and tell him about the story about this young man that had come with a visitor who wanted to see him and blah, 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 all those things. And says, oh, bring the young man. He wants to talk to, to do a movie about me. Bring the young man. So we sat in his room, and Frank showed KK the trailer, and he watched the trailer twice. I said, you're the one who has done this. You are the one who has done this. Young man, this is really good. You're going to, how come you are the one that is putting all these things up? You were not even there. You were not there when these things were happening. And that is also one thing that really made KK believe in Frank, that what he was talking about and what he was doing was real. So from there, he said, okay, I'll give you blessings and you go and do this. So we sat in there, and before we even left, he actually now said, are you going to be wearing the Kaunda suit when you're making those movies? So, and because Frank was already wearing one, because each time that we went to see KK with Frank, I would dress him in the KK suit. And it was so great to see that KK was so excited about seeing this young man who was doing a movie and also was interested in wearing his suit. So that's how come now he blessed us and we were now off. Frank really worked so hard to want to have this movie. But what I also noticed that people here in our country don't believe in possibilities. They don't believe in things that can yield fruit later on. They want things now. They will be asking so many questions about how he was going to make the movie happen without them saying, we want to get involved and this is what we want to do so that this movie can materialize. But he did not get discouraged. He would go out to South Africa, come back. He would tell me, I've got people in the US. I came to learn about people in the US to be Noah, who is making this possible today. I also came to find out about the other people that he was working with. I also came to find out that he really was eager to partner with people, because I was slowly telling him that, you cannot have 100%, everything when you do not have the resources. You must be able to actually give some, even if you hold 10% of what you want to do. At the end of the day, when the movie starts to, you will get your 10% and your dream would be out there. And so we started to now mentor on how to engage people, on how to make sure that his dream reached a lot more people. And one time we were actually lucky to have met people from the US who were in the film market. We were introduced by one person who was interested in the Kaunda suit. He's based in Cape Town at the She Trades Expo. I met him. He was interested in the KK suit. And so I introduced him, and I also told him that there's a young man who actually wants to do a movie where people are going to be dressing up in the KK suit and so on and so forth. So he introduced us to somebody in the US who unfortunately had died, passed on because of COVID. So we came back to square one, but he's still interested in making this, to interact. I hope he's watching today, and that even later on he can watch the YouTube and he'll be able to familiarize himself with what it is that we're doing today. So we are here to tell you, out there that Frank's dream lives on. Frank's, energy is passing through us. Frank's energy is something that we want to emulate and do. Frank also became my model. Each time he would come, we would make a special photo shoot, so that he could actually, make the dress, those ones. And because we had even modified, the suits, we made slim fit so that his muscles could show. Because he says that I must be able to show my muscles. I must also be able to, to show some of these nice things that, so you can see there, I'm busy dressing him. And it's just those things that really made me happy for this young man to completely immerse himself in wanting anything to do with KK, and that he would want something really big out of that. And the last, months, I think it was just 6 months before he passed on, he came to me and said, please write me a concept because I really want to meet the president. So we wrote letters to cabinet office, we wrote invitations. We just wanted to go and meet the president for 10 minutes and so forth. But it wasn't to be. We went to the Ministry of Tourism just when the new government came in. We shared the story of the struggle, and it was actually, we carried it on from his funeral. I was sitting next to the PS Kaunda, and we said we can follow this through and it can happen as we go. And we followed up and we made some contacts. We made some some inroads, but we're still making those inroads. But we know that one day it will happen. So I'll leave it there for now. As we chat, you'll be able to hear more about what we're doing with the struggle.
Yeah, so thank you, Auntie Sylvia, for that. I think at this moment we're going to transition now to talk a little bit about the movie itself, because today we are celebrating. I appreciate the comments, the sentiments that you shared when you met Frank. And I know for most people, look at this day, it's a day to cry. But I think for me, I remember Frank and his vision, and we're here to execute and to move the dream forward. So we're going to transition a little bit and talk about the next steps. So the next steps, what are we doing, Auntie Sylvia? What are we doing? What are the next steps?
Wow, the next steps have been that we had to have the company registered, because obviously we have to start from somewhere. So the next steps we have created a new company to carry on. It's been registered. I'm sure later on we'll be showing you the logo. We want to just make sure that we carry on this dream. We have constituted people who are interested. We call people who are interested in progressing with the struggle. And we've got people that are interested in the struggle, and we've got a team of 5 who are really consistent with the progression of the struggle. So it's ongoing, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so speaking of the team, speaking of the next step, so I know most people be talking, because sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and assume everybody knows about the movie. So for those who have not seen, here is a little clip. This is the project that Frank was working on, bringing to your screens the life of our first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda. Here's a little clip.
When we look back the path which led to this conference room today, we cannot entirely forget, but we can certainly forgive the days of our imprisonment and the occasions when many of us have been subject to personal indignities and hardship because of our political ideas.
Zambia does not have the capacity to strike back at the enemy because the enemy has been prepared for the last 60, 70 years, South Africa, for the last 54 years, Rhodesia. What's more, centuries behind them coming from the Western countries.
Yeah, each time when I watch that clip, it feels like Frank is here with us. Obviously, he's in spirit. We will definitely do our very best to ensure that the story of our founding president, Dr. Kaunda, is brought to the screens. It's actually an inspirational story because here is a young man at the time who was a school teacher. Imagine a teacher rises through the ranks to become the Republican president. And you must put everything in context, the times, and when this was happening. This was back then when Zambia didn't have qualified people. There were just a few qualified people. I've spoken to countless people on this one. At the time of independence, there were less than 100 graduates. So Dr. Kenneth Kaunda made his way fighting the colonial apartheid government in Africa at the time, which were the British government, him and his friends. Now, this is a story which emphasizes the journey of Kenneth Kaunda, how he rose from being a school teacher to the man that we now know him as an iconic figure on the African continent, in the world, and especially in Zambia. The movie is called The Struggle. Yeah, Auntie Sylvia, when you see those little clips, when I play the clips, when I see everything that we are trying to do here, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me feel happy, knowing that the life of the G start in all of us. So this is a especially important occasion for us all as we launch the fulfillment company that is going to work through everything else. So I know some people may be joining us late. Here is a little clip to remember Frank as we reflect back and look forward to the future. Yeah, so the fulfillment company, which is going to be working to launch the program, is Legacy Real Studios. Legacy Real Studios is a company that's going to be moving this project forward. Yeah, and Sylvia, as we are heading towards the end of the program, paying tribute, remembering our colleague, our friend, what do you want our viewers, our listeners around the world to know about because especially a few days into 2020, why is it important for people to have dreams, and why is it important for people to have goals? Because we see the dream that Frank had to fulfill, bringing to the screen the life of our first president. Why is it important for people to have a vision? Why is it important for people to have dreams?
And everything we do in life is about what we want to do, and those things that we want to do are part of our dream or a part of our bucket list of goals. And we keep on ticking them. We keep on ticking them one by one. And success means a lot of things to a lot of people. It means different things to a lot of people. And this is why we want people to believe that if we go ahead with when we go ahead with Frank's dream, we're just fulfilling that desire. We're just fulfilling somebody's goal. And it is very, very important for us to pay attention to what people want in life. It is also what is known as succession planning. Because when we do plan for things, we don't plan them that I will be the one to do them. What if you don't live to see your dreams come through? There has to be someone who is ready to take it off from yourself, and it gets to be done. This is why when we make our dreams, they have to be made known to the people that are around us. Our dreams or our goals should be made to all the stakeholders, all the shareholders, all the stockholders that would want to come and fulfill that goal, whether we are there or not. Because a dream which you only know yourself and you don't share to the people that can execute it, it becomes a failure. Even in our own daily activities, once we set goals for yourself, for the company, we have to share them with other people who part of the stakeholders, so that once you start to execute that, everyone has got a buy-in. Most of the things fail to be achieved because people haven't bought in. People are resistant to things because they don't know what it is that you are planning to do. So this is why for us, we are so grateful that Frank reached out to us and reached out and shared his vision, his passion, and also shared his journey up to the time that he passed on. Even when he passed on, we had been talking about a launch of, where we can now introduce this baby to the public so that people can start to, to have confidence and to say they want to belong, they want to belong. So this is why we are projecting this vision to you, Frank's vision, which we have taken on and said we are going to do this, so that everyone that is around us can be able to buy in and help us bring out those ideas, how we can fundraise, how we can be able to put one and one together to make two, so that we can start slowly to chip through this. And we're saying, even if we don't start on the movie right now, we can start on what we are calling a documentary. This documentary would be able to start telling the story while we are looking for partners, the big movie to be taken on. So the documentary is for you and us, so that we can start to fulfill these desires that Frank had. So we are appealing to you. We are appealing to everyone who loves stories, who love to create stories, because through the stories, the people that were not there would come and hear the story of KK, the story of independence, the story of the struggle. Because young people just think that, maybe 10 years from now, young people just say, oh, Zambia arrived, without really knowing the struggle that people had to do, to make sure that we had independence. And, we are focusing on KK because he was the team leader. Otherwise, there are so many people that are involved in this movie. There's the Queen, all these people that, were there. And we're even one time we were laughing, when we were talking about the movie itself. So Keke one day even used to, state that, "Are you going to depict me dancing with the Queen?" I said, "Yes, all that is in the movie." So there's so many people that are involved with the first cabinet, all those people that they were, the stories that used to, to happen. He researched on all these stories, and they're going to make them happen in this movie. So they are not only going to know about KK. KK is just the team leader. He had a team that he was working with who are going to be depicted in the same movie. So we just want to invite everyone with the zeal, with the passion of history, with the passion of making things happen. People who love Zambia and they want to see how did it begin until 24th of October, when most of us know about it. Even for me, by the time it was the 24th October, I was just 2 years old. So I was also interested in the story, so that we can be able to retell these stories and write, things about it, because it can be put in so many little things that can actually together show up, the story of the struggle. So we invite you to be part of the struggle in any way that you feel, whether financially, emotionally, or just feeling that you're doing something, just like the way we felt. You're doing something about something that you had no clue. We want you to get uplifted in those thoughts that somebody, a young person, I sometimes I used to wonder, how old are you? And I think by the time he was dying, he was only 30. He was only 30 years old. So you can imagine the enthusiasm, the passion, the zeal. Let's make it happen for him. We do it.
The story we are trying to screen is the found Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, who may so rest in peace, who transitioned to be on the other side of life. And also, we remember our friend Frank Kasonde, who is the pioneer, the young man who had dreams, the young man who had a mission, the young man who loved his country and was willing to sacrifice his time to do research, to work on different projects. So at least there's life of our Republican president can be told. So we are appealing to the government. We are appealing to all stakeholders, well wishers, lovers of history, to be part of this project. We want you to get in touch with us, get in touch with Premier Media. The link and email will be shared. And also you can send us an email, send us a text, send us a message on social media, and we'll be glad to hear from you, because this project is a monumental task. This project is a project of history. We did not want this Netflix and the others, because we wanted to be able to be in a position to tell the story ourselves as Zambians, as Africans. So again, we are appealing to anyone who is willing and able, because pulling off a huge monumental task such as this requires a lot of funding, requires a lot of money to pull off this project. So Frank did his best. He drafted the concept. He worked with different folks, but now it has come to us. As we remember Frank, as we look back, as we reflect on this young man, we just want to encourage each and everyone to have dreams. Live for something bigger than yourself, because this is very, very important for us all as a people, and for us all as Africans, because this is not the Kenneth Kaunda family. Kaunda lived for us all. Kaunda fought for freedom for us all. So I just want to leave you with these words in mind. So Auntie Sylvia, in 30 seconds or 30 seconds or less. Final message to our viewers, our listeners around the world on this project.
Yeah, thank you so much. My final word would be that let's pay attention and follow us, follow the Legacy Real Studios. We're going to be using all the activities that involved KK. You know, for example, like on his birthday, we are going to like do a fundraiser for the documentary, which is on 28th of April, which we are going to combine with the KK's birthday because we have to celebrate him even after he's no more. So we just want to invite you to, you know, to be part of our cheerleaders or cheer friends and the Zambians, you know, abroad, Zambians in Zambia. Everyone who is interested in hearing the story of KK, the work that Frank Kasonde started, so we can just always lay, you know, a red carpet wherever they are, and they'll be able to say thank you. We know that our story is being told, and especially the story of KK.
Thank you, thank you, Auntie Sylvia. This project, we are very thankful that you are working on this project to ensure that at least it comes to fulfillment. So thank you again for taking time to share some thoughts on this important conversation.
Thank you.
When we look back the path which led to this conference room today, we cannot entirely forget, but we can certainly forgive the days of our imprisonment and the occasions when many of us have been subject to personal indignities and hardship because of our political ideas.
Zambia does not have the capacity to strike back at the enemy because the enemy has been prepared for the last 60, 70 years, South Africa, for the last 54 years, Rhodesia. What's more, centuries behind them coming from the Western countries.